So the first things first, man, we're gonna talk about the main man himself, Mr. Tony Khan, bro. Hey, TK been out here in these streets, man. TK has been wild, and TK has said that last year when his mother was in the hospital and WWE was trying to contract talent and try to, tamper with the contracts and get him up out there talent while his mother was in the hospital dying. That's when business became personal for him. And a lot of people was like, it started during the promo hype for this past Tuesday, which is dubbed Super Tuesday. The fans online, they called it the Tuesday Night War, in which AEW Dynamite went head to head with WWE NXT. I know we've all poked fun at NXT for loading up the roster, bringing back Hall of Famers such as John Cena, The Undertaker, Paul Heyman. Then you had to bring down the future Hall of Famer and Oscar and load the deck, stack the deck up against AEW and
Cody Rhodes as general manager,
and Cody Rhodes, of course, Jade Cargill as well. If you really want to get petty, bringing back the latest person to leave AEW and show up in NXT. And, the biggest thing was Triple H. He said for the longest time, he and WWE didn't consider AEW a threat. Yet, they brought out all the big guns. And not to say that for the lack of entertainment, it wasn't fun as a fan. We had a great time to watch it. But there's a lot of people within the company and outside of the company who feel like things like this is the reason why AEW will remain number 2 and a company like WWE will remain number 1. It's because of things like this. I was listening to a podcast with Vince Russo earlier, and he said Vince McMahon was never the face of the company. It was always his talent that was the face of the company. And he said it seems like Tony Khan is more worried about being the face of the company, being the center of attention. Every time there's a headline lately, it's about Tony Khan. Every time there's a media scrum, who's always there front and center? It's always Tony Khan. He said, if you have a media scrum, let it be about the talent. If you have a press conference, let it be about the talent. This ain't got nothing to do with you. You don't need to be on the screen. You don't need to be in the middle of everything. Online, every time something trends about your company, let your talent be the reason your company is trending, not you and all your idiocracies. What are your thoughts on that, man?
My thoughts on that is this, that TK now, I cannot agree with everything that TK has said, but the whole, like you said earlier, man, the whole thought of, WWE doesn't really see AEW as competition, but yet, because they had to move their show to Tuesday, you loaded up an NXT show. Now, you told me the ratings were what, 900,000 for NXT and like 600 for AEW. Yeah. I mean, sure, that was supposed to happen. I mean, let's just be real. That was supposed to happen. Like, you're not going to convince me that NXT wasn't supposed to beat out AEW because of who you had on the show. NXT is not going to pull those numbers next week.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to, like, you take all those people that showed up, don't put them on the show next week. They're not getting 900,000 next week. I don't care who everybody else you put on the show. They're not doing those same numbers. So, yeah, I can understand some of the shit talk from that standpoint. Like, I'll give them that. Like, yeah, they had to load up, but for me, the better wrestling show was AEW. I'll be honest. But TK is going over the top a little bit, and part of that is because of what this era is. This is more of the social media era.
Yeah,
where if Vince was in the social media era, I mean, tough and young coming in like he did when he first bought the company. Yeah. If he had a social media era, I'm pretty sure he would have been promoting some stuff. Yeah. Now, yeah, it's true. Vince didn't necessarily do the thing, but I kind of, remember the Attitude Era. I even though Vince might not have never necessarily said anything, he did promos. He had people come out dressed up as former wrestlers that used to wrestle in his company and show up on the other people's company. So it's like, man, he did little jabs. He did stuff.
He still do.
And he still do. Like we're not gonna act like Vince ain't never gave settled jabs to WCW, during when they was going through their little war. Like, I don't. We're not absolving Vince. Okay, you're not gonna pretend like Vince was a constant professional. He did it for entertainment. Now he did it for entertainment. Now, and I believe TK is doing the same thing. Now, again, not saying everything he's doing right is right, but I do think sometimes, it's like, all right, TK, I think you might need to, you might need to calm down a little bit, bro.
Right.
You're going a little too hard. You're going just a little too hard. So, I get it. Now, when people say, well, this is the reason why AEW will be seen as a number 2, that's because they are number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't understand that they're number 2? Who doesn't understand that AEW, it will be nowhere near WWE? I don't care. AEW can put on the best wrestling for a complete year. It still won't move them to WWE's level. It will not. They can do it for 2 years, 3 years. We can get the next 5 years of the best wrestling ever out of AEW. It still won't put them where WWE is.